I'm Kat.
I'm Hayley.
And this is Night Classy, a tipsy night class teaching the oddities and unexpected curiosities you never learned in school.
Powered by thirst for knowledge and boxed wine, we cover the most fascinating lessons in history, science, true crime, pop culture, and the paranormal.
What are we drinking for this learning journey, Hayley?
We have a little mimosa sour here today. It is Easter as we speak, which all I know about Easter is that sometimes you get lit, right?
Yeah, mimosas. And I didn't feel like drinking actual mimosas, so I got this beer, and it's pretty good.
Yeah, I like it, and that's not all I know about Easter, but
it's all I know about Easter.
It's all I want to participate in with Easter, I guess, is really it. The candy's good, too.
Yeah, that's true. I failed to eat a chocolate bunny today, but there's still time.
There is still time. We'll just go tomorrow and everything will be marked down.
Good point.
That's the way to do it.
That is the way to do it. I like the Easter bunnies in the chocolate foil, in the gold foil. The chocolate
Those
bunnies
are classic.
in the gold foil. They're so freaking good.
I love the Cadbury cream eggs. Oh, so good.
Those are good. I like the Cadbury mini eggs. Those are my fave.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, those are good too. One of my students got some at school and he went to eat them and his mom doesn't let him have any sugar, no candy, nothing. So I was like, no.
Oh, that's sad.
I know. It was really sad. But these kids are insane.
They don't need sugar.
They don't need sugar at all. One day I let one of the kids have some birthday cake and he is my most chill student, Kat. When I tell you he was jumping up and down and flailing his arms to get like the energy off.
I will say the sugar rush thing is a myth. He was probably just excited he ate cake.
Must have been. If that's a myth, it was actually insane seeing how he was acting.
Is that the kid that can't eat sugar?
No, it's not.
Just really excited about that cake.
Apparently. I didn't know that was a myth.
Yeah, it is apparently. But kids still act crazy when they eat sugar because they're excited to eat sugar.
Does sugar just make you excited?
No, it doesn't do anything to you.
Huh.
Doesn't actually give you a sugar rush, but it still seems like it does.
I just don't want to believe that.
Well, believe it.
To be honest.
You can believe in whatever you want to believe. I'm just telling you.
Do a lesson on it.
I Googled it, and according to science, there's no such thing as a sugar rush in kids. A popular myth for decades. Many parents avoided giving sugar to their kids due to the alleged impending hyperactivity after consuming it.
Wow. Give your kids all the sugar.
Yeah,
what can go wrong? Nothing can go wrong.
No, that it's healthy for them.
It's good. Cavities, not an issue.
I started research on one topic that I didn't end up doing, and I read that there's research coming out that salt doesn't actually cause high blood pressure, or it possibly doesn't. And I was very pleased
That's the best
to learn
news
that.
ever.
Yeah, because I love salt.
But you know what sugar does do? It does increase your chances of developing Alzheimer's and dementia.
Really?
Yeah. Either both or one of them. I can't remember.
I recently learned that melatonin is being linked to Alzheimer's.
Really?
Which is a huge bummer because I eat melatonin every day. So I guess I'm just going to have Alzheimer's because I'm not going to stop eating melatonin.
Just start taking NyQuil every night.
Right. Just start drinking a fifth of vodka. You'll go right to sleep. What's that linked to?
Your nightly shots.
Yeah.
Do that. That's fine. Everything's fine.
It's fine. We drank gin last night.
We did. I woke up feeling pretty good.
Me too. I wasn't hungover at all.
I had a little tinge of hangover, but I popped some liquid IV, chugged some water. Everything was fine.
Good. I'm glad.
It was so fun, though. We need to do hard alcohol more often.
Yeah, we recorded a list, bitches, and a trivia for Patreon, and we drank a shit ton of gin and had a great time.
Y'all, Patreon is popping. You need to go over there immediately and just subscribe, become one of our patron friends, and you'll love it. The content we're putting out, we had so much fun. Hopefully it's fun to listen to. I don't know.
Yeah, we had a blast, and our list bitches ended up being as long as a regular episode, which shock. And then Alec prepared us some trivia questions, and we had a little competition, which I won't tell you who won. But it wasn't me.
It was a little walk. Oh my God. It was a walk down memory lane.
Yeah.
For sure. Because we took the questions. Alec did. He went back and actually listened to our first episode.
Which props to him.
Never. But he went back and got those questions, and we had to answer trivia questions on lessons that we taught and or listened to, and we did not remember everything.
We didn't remember everything, but I think we did pretty good.
I think so too. You nailed it. My memory, my working memory is like, not there. Oh, you want me to remember that? I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, fair enough. And I only remembered the stuff, I think, from my own lessons, so that just says something about my personality, I guess. That's fine. But it was really fun. Check out Patreon if you're not on there already. And I do have another thing I want to say. So it is Autism Awareness Month, as I'm sure many of you know. And I had a listener reach out and let me know that Autism Speaks, that foundation, is apparently very immoral and awful. So if you're going to make a donation, stay away from Autism Speaks. And I have a few good places to donate if you're interested. That would be the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network, Autistic Women and Non-Binary Network, and Self-Advocates Becoming Empowered. And I will link these in the show notes.
Great. Thank you so much for that. That could be a whole lesson too.
Yeah.
Exposing them.
Definitely. And I thought about it. The person who wrote in actually suggested doing that, but I don't have a lot of experience with autistic people or people with autism. And so, but if you want, so I didn't feel comfortable like sharing my whole 2 cents because I don't really have, I think,
the experience
to have too much of an opinion, but you should because you have an autistic sister.
I do. And that could be great. It might be kind of a heavy lesson. Who knows? I just know that they're not
they're not good. And after I got that DM, I did go and do some research and definitely stay away.
Yeah, and you would never guess it unless somebody tells you that because you're like, oh, this sounds great. Yeah, I want to support that. Yeah, don't support them.
And when you Google Autism Speaks, like nothing bad comes up. You have to Google like Autism Speaks bad to get anything.
We need to research like our names, Hayley, Madden, bad. See what comes up.
I am gonna try that.
It just brings up all of my Facebook posts from like 2010.
It brings up my track statistics from high school.
All of my yearbook pictures.
Yeah. We have one more thing, right? Do you have a Patreon shout out?
I do have a Patreon shout out for Ashley, our newest Learny Wormy. She is a fellow Ohioan like me. Well, not anymore, I guess, but you know, Ohio goes deep. Ashley Smith from Toledo, Ohio. She gave us a few notes when we asked her if she wanted anything included in the show. She said, and she is like really helping us toot our own horns here. Okay. She said, always fun and interesting episodes. It feels like hanging with girlfriends that I don't have because let's be frank, I hate people.
I'm with you, Ashley. Haley's my only friend. I'm not kidding.
I'm not kidding either. It's like, who am I going to hang out with? Cat or myself?
Cat, myself, or my actual cat.
Yeah. I hang out with them every day. She said, also give a 5-star rating so they can keep the pod going.
Oh, thank you, Ashley.
Like, champion and night classy. Now, this last part here, she said, follow her TikTok. She eats food. I don't know if she reviews food or what that is. I asked her what her TikTok handle is, but we haven't heard back yet. Okay. So we'll stay tuned. Posted. But thank you so much, Ashley. I hope you enjoy all of that extra content we have over there on Patreon.
Yes. And if you would like to donate to our Patreon and get access to that content and get a shout out and come to our cocktail hours, you can go to patreon.com/nightclassy or follow our link tree.
Enjoy it. Go on now.
Be free. Goodbye. I don't know.
Anywho, I think that's all we've got.
Yeah, I'm ready to start.
Notes. Let's freaking go. Okay, so I'm going first with a breathalyzer. I blew a .021, and you?
I blew zeros across the board, and I even tried again, and I still blew zeros. So I'm sober.
Not for long, hopefully.
No, I'm gonna chug all these beers in front of me.
Yeah, you can.
I'm gonna shotgun them. Actually, I'll shotgun them the entire time you talk. It won't be distracting at all.
Do not throw up, please. Do not throw up on me.
You've been spilling wine on my laptop. I'm just just going to throw up on yours.
Bin spilling. Okay, that happened twice.
Twice. Yeah. In like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I have issues. Okay. I think I talk with my hands too much.
Yeah.
And
I think the straws were
were
the danger zone.
They're so long.
They are very long.
We need some medium straws. Those straws are big boys.
I wonder if we can cut some in half. Do you think that would work?
Yeah, we could just like cut them and then take a lighter to them to like smooth them over.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe use like a hot wire. Do you think that would get through the plastic?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, let's do it.
Ooh, experiment.
Straw surgery.
Well, I'm going to start my learning journey off here with a question for you.
Okay.
What are your favorite podcasts?
Oh, fun. The first podcast I ever got into was in That's Why We Drink. So they will always have a special place in my heart. I love them.
Naturally,
and then
yes.
I also love Wine and Crime. I've gotten really into Jim Harold's Campfire lately. That's a good one. Probably... what else? Let me pull up my Spotify real quick. Dwight Schrute's podcast. What is that one called? I always forget
Dark
the name
Air.
of it. No.
Radio Rental.
Radio Rental. Loved that one. I loved The Dream.
Oh, I don't know what The Dream is.
It's very good. And I don't know. I could keep going, but I'm going to stop there.
I think that's great. And you proved my point that you didn't even know that I had a common thread for at least half of those was that they cover true crime.
Yeah, I'm a true crime bitch.
Yes, so many people are. I think some of our favorite and most popular episodes of Night Classy are the true crime episodes. And I just wanted to know why. Why do we as a society love true crime so much? So that's what we're going to learn about today.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm just fascinated that people can be so terrible. Mm-hmm. And I just want to know why they're so terrible.
Yeah. And even the way we approach true crime has evolved and changed over time as well. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to take us back to, we've been mesmerized with murder and punishing murders since the dawn of time. But true crime media, as we know in 2022, can be traced back to one invention from the 15th century. Do you want to guess what it is?
An invention from the 15th? Oh, like a public gallows?
No.
Oh.
Do you want to guess again?
The judicial system.
Okay. No, it is a material object. It is the printing press.
That makes so much more sense. Okay.
The gallows was a good guess, though. I think they had those before the 15th century.
Probably, but...
The public execution was the go-to for capital crimes. It was really common, and for a long time, execution was entertainment.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, but I definitely would have been front row at the gallows.
Of course.
Not that I want to see people die, but what else do you have to do if you're a peasant in the 1400s?
You don't have much else to do, and it's like so bizarre and weird. You know, our brains are attracted to things like that.
Yeah, it's a spectacle, and like that doesn't mean it's like good. Like obviously you shouldn't take pleasure in that. I don't want anyone to think I'm a horrible person, but
it's like when you pass a car wreck.
Yeah.
It's not easy to look away.
Or listen to a freaking true crime podcast. Like that's, I feel like, the equivalent today of going to a public execution.
Yeah, and we'll go into the feelings that things like that evoke. But before that, I want to talk a little bit more about this printing press. So execution was entertainment, so much so that some printing press entrepreneurs bossed up and they started selling broadsides, which were these huge posters that they would sell and post up in the gallows. I have a picture here of one example. I couldn't find any from the actual 15th century, but this was a common practice, so it continued on for hundreds of years. And these posters gave the details of crimes that the person committed, and it also gave the crowd the context for the execution.
Oh, God.
And people really like getting the tea.
Yeah, it's like a marquee. Here we have tonight the Arctic monkeys, followed by the execution of 6 men and 1 woman, the mother of 9 children, according to this poster.
And I feel like to execute a woman was quite the spectacle as well. That was pretty rare. I don't have any notes on that, but that was one of the oldest ones that I could find. And these printers and publishers wanted to make more money, obviously. So they started printing and publishing a ton of true crime pamphlets. They essentially took these broadsides, made them a little bit smaller, and folded them into pamphlets. And the clergymen specifically fucked with these pamphlets hard. They loved these pamphlets and would use them as morality tales.
Oh my God.
To steer people towards God. These pamphlets gave the reader a background on the perpetrator and oftentimes elaborated on, this person had a very clear path to sin.
It was like a program at a play. Like when you write your little bio.
It's like, okay, so in Act 1, you're going to be drinking. Act 2, gambling. Act 3, going into debt. Strike 3, you're a murderer. And either way, it's like you're either walking with Jesus or you're walking to the gallows. And then we're going to write a pamphlet about you and spread it all over Europe.
It's so weird because I feel like it's saying like the judicial system is like God, like passing the judgment of God, essentially, which you're not supposed to do. Like humans aren't supposed to be able, according to like.
But it wasn't
Christian
even
theology.
like the judicial system back then. It was the Holy Roman.
Yeah, but it's like, how is
shit.
being punished by the government the same as like you're scorned by God? Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Well, it almost makes me think that religion was invented
to keep people
crowd
in line.
control.
Yeah, crowd control. Jesus is just walking around with like the glow sticks directing.
He has on his vest. Thou shalt not steal my shit. Our fascination with true crime will probably never end. In Victorian England, people got their fix with serialized penny dreadfuls. Do you know what this is?
No.
I didn't either. They're also referred to as penny horribles, penny awfuls, and penny bloods. These pieces of literature were published weekly.
I'm sorry, but Penny Blood would make an incredible drag name. Somebody use that.
Yes, I was thinking drag name or even a band name,
Yeah.
but I like drag names so much more. And they were published in 8 to 16 parts, ranging in the amount of pages, and each one cost 1 penny. The stories they told were sensational. They focused on adventures of detectives, criminals, and sometimes some supernatural entities. I do have some pictures. One example is, that is another one of the broadsides. But one example is Sweeney Todd and the String of Pearls. That was one of these penny bloods, penny horribles, penny dreadfuls, and people loved them. This was like the true crime podcast in the Victorian age.
Were they true though, or were they like
Some
stories?
of them seem to have been true.
Okay.
Some of them were stories that were influenced by true crime, but either way, it was this crime
like
that people were
morbid,
fascinated by. Yeah. And in the American Old West, print media was not as widespread, but where there's a will, there's true crime. So instead of having these penny dreadfuls and these broadsides, the tales of criminal activity were often passed along via murder ballads. So true crime has always been what it is, I think, to us today, but the way we consumed it has been different over the years. By the time 24-hour news networks came onto television, the general public could just turn on their TVs and get their daily dose of murder and crime and all of that stuff. But the archives of media around crimes in the latter half of the 20th century gives us podcasters, YouTubers, TikTokers, researchers, whatever you are, they give us a wealth of knowledge when covering true crime, and they also allow us to go back and re-examine these cases, even if it's something like Jean-Benet Ramsey or Madeleine McCann. So many people cover these cases. They're so big and sensational, and I just feel like they never get old.
Yeah, because there's always, it seems like, a new hot take or like a new piece of evidence.
Yes, and that's part of the thrill of it too that I'll get to. It's like you get to play detective when you're listening to these podcasts or watching these docuseries. But I wanted to know, why does true crime work so well? Why does it slap so hard? And there's this joke that the comedian Jenna Friedman says. She's like, okay, women don't watch true crime. They study it.
Right. They live true crime.
They live true crime as a preventative measure.
Yeah, for real.
We have to know what to expect if we get jumped. We have to look in the backseat of our cars. We have to keep our headphones in, but low or not even doing any volume in our ears.
Yeah.
So many precautions that I've learned just from doing and listening to true crime. And all of this is in line with a theory researchers have as to why women consume so much more true crime than men do. It's because it's a learning tool for us. It's our instinctual survival kicking in.
For real. And like, men can like true crime. I'm not saying they can't, but I think it's a little more like easy to, I don't know, be a fan of something when your gender is typically the victim versus the perpetrator. Like, I don't know. I feel like
you're rooting for the right team.
I feel like some men feel a little icky about liking true crime because it's like they're not typically the victims.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And that's a point that I didn't see in any of this research.
More men are killed than women.
Yeah, more
True,
men
but
are
they're
victims
also
of violent crime.
Yeah.
But it's different types of violent crime that women are more often the victims of.
And I feel like a lot of times the true crime that's sensationalized has a female victim because it becomes, for whatever reason, by our like societal culture, more of a spectacle.
Yeah, I would agree. And even going further into women experiencing these crimes, there's that, I forget the exact name of it, but it's like the white missing lady effect, where the media goes fucking crazy over white women who are missing or murdered, and it gets nowhere attention. Near the same.
And that's not right. Like,
it's not right.
And I'm also not trying to say that men aren't the victims of crime, but
yeah,
that's just like my little hypothesis. I don't know.
What you're saying makes sense. And specifically, women are more interested in stories that give us insight into the killer's motives, information on how the victim escaped, and the actual physical features of these female victims. And we can learn how women were victimized by these predators and take precautions in our own day-to-day lives. And also, true crime allows us to play out these situations as ourselves, to think like, ooh, if I would have known that then, what would I have done in that instance? And it can give us a sense of preparedness. Almost.
It totally, like, you apply it to your life. In college, I went to the University of Washington, where Ted Bundy was doing some killing. And I had a basement apartment, and my bedroom had like our house, I think, was heated by hot water. So like boiling water would run through the pipes. And in my room, all the pipes were exposed. So it would get sweltering in there at night if the heat was left on. Like, it would be unbearable. But I would never open my window because of the Ted Bundy stories. And I know that obviously he wasn't like killing when I was in college, but it's like he was, and it could happen again. Yeah.
It takes one Ted Bundy, and there are plenty of freaks out there.
Yeah.
Also, Washington puts out the most murders.
It puts out serial killer vibes.
Yes, it does.
It attracts them.
Life is not a movie, but sometimes it does feel like one. And Seattle, with the rain and just I don't want to say depressed atmosphere. It sets the tone.
I mean, seasonal affective disorder is very real, and
yes,
has a vibrant community there.
That's not what I was saying.
It is thriving.
I know. The other day, I was telling Tommy, I was like, I am just so glad that the sun is out and shining. And he was like, do you think that like you might have seasonal affective depression or something? And I was like, yeah. 100. I don't think I know.
Yeah, it's amazing how much better you feel once the sun starts coming out.
I know. Even just that little blurb of sunshine we had while we started recording was just enough energy to get us going. I mean, not that we're not already super pumped and excited to be here.
It revved our engines.
Moving on to the next point here, witnessing cases of violence triggers a release of adrenaline. When you're doing the dishes or cleaning, driving, just at home chilling, whatever you're doing while listening to these true crime podcasts or docuseries, whatever it is, you're safe. Your personal safety is not in harm's way. And knowing that, you still get the adrenaline. But when you get the adrenaline and you're in a safe position, it can be very stimulating.
Yeah,
and
it adds a little spice.
Yeah, it feels good. It's like going on a roller coaster. The chances of you actually dying, pretty low.
Or like a haunted house. Like one of my favorite things, and this is gonna make me sound insane, but I like to, whenever I walk Georgia at night, I listen to Let's Not Meet. And then I get kind of scared, like I spook myself, and it's kind of fun.
Yeah, I do the same thing. Well, I don't think I am as much as a daredevil as you are. I don't think I could do it out walking, but I love to listen to Let's Not Meet when Tommy has fallen asleep and I'm just up trying to fall asleep, which doesn't make sense listening to that podcast trying to fall asleep, but his voice is just so nice. But anyway,
he's very soothing.
It creeps me the fuck out.
Yeah, it is very creepy.
And then once you make it home alive, I'm sure from your walks, you're like, I'm a bad
I'm gonna
bitch.
do it again.
I'm going to do it again.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it until I do get kidnapped.
And every now and then someone's like delivering Uber Eats or whatever, but they like slow their car down next to you and you're like, oh no, here it comes.
It's happening. It's happening. Just make sure whatever you say in the documentary made about my murder, I was a light. I lit up the room, life of the party. No one had anything bad to say about me. All the cliche stuff.
You don't have to tell any lies about me, but make sure you pick a good photo.
Wow, are you saying those were all lies?
No,
about
those
me?
Are true about you. They wouldn't be true about me. But I demand a good photo.
Okay, that's
in
fair.
the newspaper. Please don't.
Please,
do something
good photos
fucked up.
only.
Yeah.
God. Not like the thumbnails Alec picks for our YouTube videos.
Hey, that last one, Kat had just had her wisdom teeth out and I had to Photoshop out the bruising.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh,
It was very nice of him.
So I'm trying, Hayley. I'm doing my best.
You looked cute post wisdom tooth surgery.
I was so swollen. My face looked like a baseball.
It took a lot not to laugh as hard as I wanted to.
You should have laughed. It would have been funny. I looked absurd.
You looked crazy.
Yeah.
And I felt bad because I felt like you would be self-conscious about it. So I was
I knew I looked crazy.
Hold it in.
It would have made me feel better. You guys kept pretending. And then I had to go to work one day. Like, we had an in-service day. Like, the kids weren't there. So I was like, well, I may as well just, like, go because I can just sit in these meetings and ice my face. No one will expect me to do anything. So I went. And everyone was like, you look cute. Like, it doesn't look bad. And I was just like, you guys are all fucking lying to my face right now.
You did look
Stop.
cute. It was very cute. You looked like a chipmunk.
I did. Yeah.
It was crazy, though.
Yeah.
It did not look normal.
No.
I'll say that.
And it lasted for over a week. And I started to wonder if I was ever going to look like myself again. Like, I started to get scared. Things that keep you up at night.
It just stretches your skin so much.
I was worried about that. I was like, what if my skin just decides it likes to be swollen and it never goes down?
Just start a new trend.
Yeah, may as well. I'll get good at contouring. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, back to this lesson here. I don't even know where I'm at in my notes. Oh, right. Okay. So you like to experience that adrenaline that Let's Not Meet gives you when you are assuming you're safe while walking Georgia during the nighttime. It's the same feeling we get when we're watching a scary movie, watching extreme sports. If you're into that kind of thing, I can't relate.
Watching sports gives me sports affective disorder.
Rage. Yeah. I get mad thinking about how much money athletes make, which I know they deserve it, but then I'm just
That's fine.
I'm a teacher.
I want
need
everyone to
make
have
more.
money. You can give them money. I just don't want to watch them. Don't make me watch them.
So many reasons I don't watch
I would
sports.
much rather, and I know that women play sports too, but if we're talking about like professional football, which is what I'm envisioning, I would much rather watch a reality show about their wives. Give me that show.
Obviously.
And just play that like on the side while the football game is going on.
Just whenever they're fighting, impose the wives' heads onto the football players' bodies when they're getting tackled.
I would watch. We have to make a YouTube channel where we do that. Oh my gosh.
Just get like Real Housewives clips and then
put them on the football players' bodies.
I think we're onto something.
I think so too. That sounds impeccable.
Yeah, and then we could bridge the gap between boyfriends and girlfriends, or partner and partner, those who like sports and those who don't, to watch sports and reality TV together.
Thank God, though, neither of our partners like sports.
Oh my God, I'm so happy.
Worst.
It just makes me so glad every time I think about it.
That was my main criteria when picking a boyfriend, honestly. My first Tinder question was, do you watch sports? No? Okay, cool. Let's go on a date.
Tommy's like, I don't even know what's going on at the University of Tennessee football. And I'm like, come here. Daddy, you can get it. There's also this other level when you're listening to these true crime podcasts where you get the, it could have been me sensation when the victim was doing something that you do all the time. This leads us to feel sometimes like we've cheated death. And we like that.
It kind of like I feel like maybe that's like a superiority complex. Like I think
it's an evolutionary thing.
Yeah.
Maybe superiority too. I think that there's a fine line when it comes to that and victim blaming.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I'm not saying that's how I feel, but I feel like that might be like something that's like promoted almost in a lot of like true crime programs.
Yeah.
At least older ones.
Too.
I feel like we've gotten better at not victim blaming nowadays.
Yeah, we have. If anything, the media that's put out around true crime is more focused on the victim, their lives, the people who loved them, rather than sensationalizing the perpetrator.
Yeah, or like fetishizing them.
Exactly. And even the way we talk about perpetrators now is more so based in these modern psychological lens that we look through to look at nature and nurture versus just being like, they were a crazy maniac.
Yeah.
It's like, no, maybe that person experienced a lot of abuse and this or that, whatever could have led them and shaped them. It's not an excuse, but it helps you see
like it paints the whole picture. It's not just like scapegoating mental health every time. Because obviously not everyone who's mentally ill is going to commit a crime.
Of course. It just gives more context. Context. Humans have their own dark side. As we all know, I think we all have one. Some people are more in touch with it than others, and some of them have life experiences that kind of throw them more into the dark side than others. But we are all curious beings. We want to know the drama, and we're curious about unusual instances. The human brain also loves novelty, really gets the people going, and that is what true crime gives us. Typically, perpetrators are unusual in these sensational true crime stories. We get a glimpse inside the mind of someone who has committed a heinous crime that we ourselves could never imagine doing. But I'm sure at one point or another, we've all been in touch with our more aggressive, animalistic side, and we don't act on those thoughts that I'm sure all of us have.
When was the last time your aggressive animalistic side came out?
Oh my gosh. Sometimes I get triggered when kids don't listen to me teaching. Like, but it's not like I act on, screaming at the kids. Like sometimes I might want to.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. Some people's animalistic aggressive side is homicide.
Yeah, it's about controlling it.
Yes. And most of us control it, but some people don't. Mm-hmm. And so getting to see inside when someone snaps, if you will, is just interesting. That's just it. Mm-hmm. There's also a social aspect to our true crime obsession. A lot of people tune in for podcasts like Serial or shows like Making a Murderer, Tiger King. And shows like that have become cultural touchstones. Just yesterday, you were wearing a shirt that said Murderinos from My Favorite Murder podcast. I have no idea what that means because I don't listen to it, but I'm sure plenty of our listeners do.
Stay sexy and don't get murdered.
Yes. So My Favorite Murder has created this huge fan base. You all identify yourselves as murderinos, and it's a part of a bigger community that you're in. You all have this kind of bizarre, weird thing where you like true crime and murder, but I guess it's not really even that bizarre because we all are attracted to true crime and murder.
It's very popular.
It is super popular, but having that community creates this whole social level to it all. Mm-hmm. And along with this social aspect, we already touched on the point of getting to play detective. We're all natural problem solvers, and true crime gives us the opportunity to try and solve or at least think about this very intricate, scary puzzle. And I think knowing that it happened, it is true crime, just adds a whole other level of it to me, because it's not like this is a made-up story that someone formulated. This actually happened, which makes it all the more fascinating to me.
Yeah.
And putting the true crime stories into a narrative structure can be helpful to deal with such tragic events, which may threaten our view of the world. Rebecca Frost, a true crime author and analyst, explains that, quote, "In responding to situations that have disrupted our communal order, the crime narrative functions as a restoration ritual that aids members of the community responding to and recovering from that presented threat." So I feel like it's a way to talk about what actually happened, but it adds a layer between you and this like tragic event.
Yeah, like some of the stories are so sensational you can't believe they're real, and so they don't feel real. Mm-hmm. You can kind of tell it as if it's a fictional narrative.
Yeah, and these narratives, they give us a wider view. Rather than just describing the crime they committed, they tell us about where it happened, how it happened, who it happened to. And the narrative, how it's presented, is also a reflection of when it was written. The true crime pamphlets from the Middle Ages were presented in this Christian-based moral high ground type situation. And today, we look through that lens of these universally recognized modern psychology concepts when discussing the perpetrator, and it just brings us to a different understanding than we would have had in the Middle Ages. So not only have the narratives around the crime changed, but so has society's beliefs about crime and about punishment. I'll touch on this just a little bit. This guy, Michael Foucault, wrote a book in 1975 called Discipline and Punishment.
Michael Foucault,
yes. Thank you. What did I say, Michael?
Michael Foucault.
You know
Michael
him.
Fuckhole.
Oh, man, reading is hard, and I'm in this fucking long sleeve. It's hot in here. But anyway, maybe you know this book.
I don't know if I know that book, but we had
You
to
know
read some of
him.
his stuff in college.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
What class?
Like an English class. I think it was like Intro to Lit. I don't know. It was my
lit.
freshman year.
But in this book, he explored how criminal punishment has changed, yet also stayed the same over hundreds of years. He commented on how the public execution practices of olden days are not too different of how modern incarceration and execution still happens, but it's just behind closed doors now. And you can still go and see someone if you're related to the crime. Mm-hmm. If someone's getting executed, you can go still watch it. He examined how both practices are more about maintaining power than deterring crime. And these public executions were supposed to scare people from committing the crimes, but at the same time, they also made the judge and the executioners murderers themselves. So it made people at the time sympathize with a criminal who is being executed.
Well, yeah. Why is it any better to kill a criminal than the criminal doing the original killing? make it make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be. If we're going to take that moral high ground, then we need to follow along with the law as well. Just because you have a badge or you're elected a political position shouldn't give you a right to murder someone in the name of the law.
I don't think so.
Two wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah.
I said it once, I'll say it again. And true crime is here to stay. Thank God. Netflix alone increased their true crime offerings 63% between 2018 and last year, 2021.
Damn.
True crime can reinforce our beliefs in justice and order. It can be soothing for society and satisfy our need for justice. And it can also give us this weird sense of control in the crazy world we live in. I will end on acknowledging that true crime can have real psychological impacts on us. If you need a break, take a break. Signs of being true crimed out, if you will, are feeling overly depressed, not wanting to leave your house because you're super anxious about what could happen, feeling stressed, you're overly wary of people. The list goes on, but those are the main things. So if you find yourself in a spot that you're like, I'm addicted to true crime and it's affecting me,
listen to our podcast and get a little break. I feel like a lot of our listeners are people who mostly consume true crime podcasts. And
Same here.
We break it up.
Yeah. And then every, I don't know, couple of months we have a true crime one in here. We've
Probably
been true
once
crime
a month.
heavy.
Yeah.
But until then, enjoy that true crime. It's really not even that weird. It makes sense because we're human. It's a fucking spectacle. So my sources are The Bizarre Appeal of True Crime by Wisecrack on YouTube, the Wikipedia page for Penny Dreadfuls, 6 Reasons Why People Enjoy True Crime Stories, The Psychology of Murder Mystery by Health Magazine, English Crimes and Execution Broadsides in the Harvard Law School Library and Special Collections, and Is Your Love of True Crime Impacting Your Mental Health by the Cleveland Clinic.
That was so interesting. Thank you, Hayley.
Yes, you're welcome. Let's hear a quick word from our sponsor. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. And if you're listening right now, chances are you're probably a true crime junkie as well. We just ended the last learning journey talking about ways that true crime can affect your mental health. And if you think you might be feeling depressed, stressed, anxious, maybe a little overwhelmed, BetterHelp is here to help so that you can keep binging those true crime podcasts, baby. BetterHelp offers licensed therapists who are trained to listen and to help you. You get to talk to your therapist in a private online environment at your convenience. There's a broad range of expertise in BetterHelp's 20,000 plus therapists. And that means to me that you're going to find the therapist who's right for you. That was one of the most important things in my experience, finding a therapist. I wanted someone that I would be able to vibe with and I could trust, and I could also get help from them. This network helps you access this range of therapists that may not be available in your area. You just fill out a questionnaire to help you assess your specific needs, and then you get matched with your therapist in under 48 hours. From there, you schedule secure video and phone sessions, plus you can exchange unlimited messages, and everything you share is always confidential. To me, it's a no-brainer. You have to take care of yourself, and we want you to do that so that you can keep doing the things you love, like listening to a true crime podcast. So head on over to betterhelp.com/classy. That's betterhelp.com/classy for 10% off your first month of therapy with BetterHelp. Support yourself with BetterHelp and support Night Classy by using that code CLASSY. Enjoy.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. I'm having a blast.
Are you ready for a learning journey?
Yes, I'm always ready for a learning journey.
Wow. Good. So here we go. Puppy pregnancy syndrome is a psychosomatic illness where a person thinks they are pregnant with puppies.
I feel like that was you. as a kid.
I nursed my stuffed animals with my non-existent boobs.
Yep.
As a child.
There it is.
So, yeah, I suffered from this illness.
You don't have to say anything else. I see it so clearly.
I know what this is like. It's a form of mass hysteria and is localized in villages across several states in India. So to people's knowledge, it's only in India, although I think I had it.
You got a little touch of it.
I got a little taste.
You tried to get off school in like 3rd grade for maternity leave.
I deserved it. So people typically begin suffering after being bitten by a dog, especially if the dog who bites them is sexually excited. So some red rocket action.
Yeah, if you get bit by a sexually excited dog, you want something for it, right?
Yeah, the next logical assumption is that now you're pregnant with puppies.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
That's why vampires are so sexual.
After being bitten, victims are known to bark like dogs. They report seeing the puppies inside them in reflection in water. So like they look in water and they can see the puppies growing inside them.
Right, yeah.
And they
Special mirror.
Special magic mirror. And they can hear the puppies growling in their abdomen.
No,
You're just hungry.
You're just hungry. Also, you can't growl without, like, you're not getting air in your lungs when you're in the womb. That doesn't make sense. You can't vocalize.
Listen, I think you're trying to apply logic to something that is very illogical.
Okay, right. What's the phrase? It's like, who's more of a fool if you argue with a fool?
Yeah.
I don't know what the actual saying is, but
that applies here.
I am the fool.
Yeah, we all are. It's believed that if they give birth to the puppies, they'll die, especially the men who would have to give birth through their penis. That can't be fun.
Why not their asshole? That seems easier.
Because your asshole isn't connected to your reproductive system.
Neither is your urethra.
Sperm comes out of your urethra. I feel like the penis is
doesn't
the
come out
more logical assumption.
Like, what if they grew in our nutsack and then they had to be C-sectioned out?
And you couldn't walk.
Huge,
You're like, I'm entering my 3rd pregnancy or my 3rd trimester. I can't walk with these puppies, literally.
Did you ever watch, it was a documentary or something about the guy with like the world's largest scrotum, and he like had to wear sweatpants all the time and it would like drag on the floor.
On the floor?
It was like massive. Like it was a problem and he never got it removed. And I think he did like porn and stuff.
Okay.
Which makes sense.
To each your own.
The logical step.
Yeah, what else are you gonna do? When God gives you gifts, you do porn.
Yeah, I guess so. It
It was
was
like,
very wild.
What was his name?
Yeah.
Like, open incognito window.
DuckDuckGo, anyone?
Those who suffer from this typically seek help from spiritual healers who claim to have oral cures that will dissolve the puppies.
I'll suck the puppy right out of your penis.
If only.
Gonna have to make the drop out of that one.
Hayley volunteers.
That's gonna get me
you
fired.
can call her.
Yeah.
So therefore, a lot of these victims don't go to the doctor, which is unfortunate because what a lot of them are also suffering from is rabies. Yeah. India has the highest rabies infection rate in the world. This is mostly due to the high number of stray dogs, which is especially a problem after 2001 when killing dogs was made illegal. So their populations have blossomed. But puppy pregnancy syndrome is also a contributor, as people will seek medical treatment after a dog bite from religious healers instead of going to a doctor who could give them rabies shots. And this is typically, puppy pregnancy syndrome is usually only in like very rural villages that don't have a lot of access to education and medicine. So it's an issue. It's estimated that 20,000 people die of rabies in India each year, which makes up 1/3 of the global total.
Yeah, that's like 19,990 more people that should be dying.
Yeah, for sure. So if you haven't guessed, today we're talking about rabies.
Oh man, I wanted to hear more about puppy syndrome.
I told you everything I could find. That's it.
Rabies, Alex's favorite ailment.
Yeah. Alec is a survivor.
I'm a survivor. That's my impression of Reba. I'm sorry.
Rabies is a viral disease that causes inflammation of the brain in mammals. It is most often transmitted through saliva and an animal bite, but can also be transmitted through scratches. The virus typically travels from an entry point, then through the central nervous system and into the brain. Once the brain is infected, it travels to the peripheral and autonomic nervous systems and then eventually to the salivary glands, where it can then be transmitted to the next victim. Globally, dogs are the most common transmitters. In countries where dogs commonly have rabies, they contribute to 99% of the rabies cases.
Okay, one thing I have questions about when it comes to rabies is that it's obviously a very serious thing to contract
it's
rabies.
Incredibly serious.
Why is it so funny? Like there are so so many jokes and like punchlines around rabies.
I think because at least in the United States it's not really a threat anymore. So like we don't think of it actually happening to people. So in that way, like it's like that thing where like you can joke about things that aren't a problem anymore, but that's not the case everywhere in the world.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of rabies jokes, and like it is kind of funny, but also it's not. Like if you
of The Office, jump for the rabies run,
walk for the cure, or run to cure rabies. Oh my god, and it is cured.
You got the sex worker to come present the check dressed up as a nurse. That's what 200, like almost a half of the funds for the massive check.
Yeah. Oh, so good. Speaking of that episode of The Office, in the Americas, bat bites are the most common way for a human to get rabies. So if you are bit by a bat, definitely go get rabies shots.
Get your rabies, wear a garlic necklace, because chances of that bat actually being a vampire, very high.
I saw a TikTok that was talking about the link between the belief in vampires and like rabies epidemics. And it was very interesting. And he argued that like the legend of vampires kind of came from like people getting bit by bats and then getting rabies, which I didn't watch the whole TikTok and I don't remember his name. I wish I could credit him. But after doing this research, like back in the day before we had a cure for rabies, it was dogs that gave people rabies. I don't think anyone would have made the connection between bats and rabies, but who knows?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I wish we had more information.
Yeah, definitely. I wish I watched that whole TikTok.
Can I add one interesting thing I read about the Hauska castle that you just did last week, which is there's things in the basement, there's rooms where they don't even let you in because there's bat like species in there that are infested, that the government has protected them and they're not allowed to like go in there. So like the entire like basement is full of bats.
How did you learn that? That never came up when I was
looking to get a picture for the episode art, and I was scrolling to like make sure I wasn't getting like the wrong creature, because I was trying to do like a winged creature and I was like, is it a winged creature? And it was like, here's some interesting facts about the Hauska castle.
Oh, that's cool.
And did you talk about how it was named after like a braided bread?
No.
So I guess Hauska means braided.
You're making me look like a terrible podcaster right now.
But I just wanted to tell you this. I should have told you off the air, but it means like braided loaf of bread, and there are stone braided loaf of bread like built into the castle.
Oh, that is the weirdest place ever.
Yeah.
I want to go so bad.
We have to go.
And let's not buy tickets. Let's just trespass. Okay.
I'm down. I love trespassing.
I'm trying to see the bats.
Show me your bats. Show me the bats. We come out with rabies. We're like foaming at the mouth, biting each other.
Honestly, sounds fun.
I'm down.
I'm trying to get puppy pregnant.
So like I said, in the Americas, like you're most likely to get it from bats, and less than 5% of cases come from cats and dogs because of vaccination. Rodents are very rarely carriers, especially possums, who are heavily resistant to rabies because of their lower internal body temperature.
Possums are cute as fuck.
Possums are adorable.
I almost wore my necklace today.
Oh, you should have. That would have been perfect.
No.
Yeah, don't kill possums. They eat bad bugs that you don't want, and they are very unlikely to have rabies. And they're our friends. They're not mean. They're very nice. Mm-hmm. Rabies typically has an incubation period of 1 to 3 months before symptoms show up in humans.
That is so scary.
It's just terrifying.
All up in you, wreaking havoc.
Yeah, and you
don't even know.
No idea. And this can be as short as 4 days, but it can be as long as 6 years.
6 years?
Mm-hmm. And you don't even know you have rabies. And then once you start showing symptoms, You're too
fucked.
Late. Yeah.
Holy crapoly. I feel like that's up there with Lyme disease.
Yeah, it's very scary.
Weird things that we've pretty much gotten rid of, but it's so much like we've gotten rid of it so much that when you do get it and it's that serious.
Yeah,
it's
and then doctors can't diagnose you. Yeah, and you're fucked. Yeah, Lyme disease would be a really interesting topic. And now like some people claim to have like long Lyme disease, which a lot of doctors say isn't real, but then
I don't think Lyme disease ever really goes away, right?
Well, it can. I don't know. People like don't really know fully how to cure it. And I don't know. It's interesting. Obviously, I don't know a lot about it. We should research.
From what I understand, there are treatments but no cure. But I don't know for sure.
I had a teacher that had Lyme disease.
And it like ruined her life.
Yeah,
almost,
like
right?
she almost died. She lost like a ton of weight. Like she was a skeleton. She couldn't eat. Like she thought she was gonna die, and then now she's fine. I don't think she like has any complications anymore. I don't know what they did to her.
Yeah, my high school boyfriend had it too. He was like walking like an old man because it was in his joints and affected him there. It was like he had arthritis essentially, and then they found out it was Lyme disease. He got bit by a tick.
Help them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow, it's amazing. Once symptoms start, like I said, it's pretty much impossible to cure. Initially, the symptoms can be really mild. You might just have a tingling at the point of entry, a fever, or a headache. After that, the more intense symptoms start. These might include partial paralysis, anxiety, insomnia, confusion, agitation, abnormal behavior. I was looking at the word agitation while I was saying confusion.
I kind of like that. I like that more than confusion.
I'm confused about how to say confusion.
Also, I'm scared of water. So
that's another one. Terror, hallucinations, and, like Hayley said, fear of water. Eventually, the symptoms progress to delirium and coma until you die. And death typically occurs within 2 to 10 days of the first symptoms appearing. So once you have symptoms, it's a pretty fast death. Throughout history, rabies has also been called hydrophobia, as it does cause a fear of water. And I thought it was really interesting learning why you become so afraid of water. So what happens is because rabies is usually transmitted through saliva, it causes excessive salivation and it stops your ability to swallow. So you just have saliva pooling up in your mouth so that you can transmit it more easily. And people with rabies are severely thirsty, but they panic when given water to drink. And I watched some videos of people like doing this, like with rabies, being scared to drink water, and it was very unsettling. I don't recommend watching that. But the reason they get so scared is because the virus wants you to keep from swallowing. Like it wants the saliva to pull up in your mouth. So thinking about swallowing or even thinking about or attempting to drink and swallow causes intense like muscle spasms in your neck that cause severe pain. So that's why they don't even want to see water, because it hurts even to look at it.
This is absolutely insane. Mm-hmm. Rabies makes me think, maybe there is a God, because that is a smart-ass virus.
Yeah, it's really, really just like sadistic.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Where it's like, surely we didn't all just evolve.
Like,
from,
that's intelligent design. That on this Easter Sunday,
Say
I feel
less.
God in this rabies lesson.
I am, though.
Yeah.
This is fucking insane.
Right? Isn't that crazy? Like, and the virus had to have evolved, like, for, like, to cause these characteristics, you know? So it must have, like, been a long time. But yeah,
Rabies.
so
the
wild.
gift that keeps fucking with you.
It really does. And it can even cause aerophobia, which is very rare, but it causes the fear of fresh air.
No air.
No air, no air. Sorry for that.
Tell me how I'm supposed to breathe with no air.
God, that song is so good.
I know, man. Chris Brown, that is...
Oh, I forgot that was Chris Brown.
Fucked.
Never
Yep.
mind. Sorry.
I mean, the song is good.
yeah, but don't download it and give him money.
Yeah, just listen to us singing
listen
it.
to us sing it.
It's the
royalty
same.
free. There are two types of rabies, furious and paralytic, which is also sometimes called dumb rabies.
Okay.
Furious rabies accounts for about 80% of human cases, so it's much more common. And that's the one associated with hydrophobia, hyperactivity, excitable behavior, and sometimes aerophobia, while paralytic rabies counts for only 20%, and that causes muscle weakness, loss of sensation, and paralysis. And what happens is it spreads slowly through the body, paralyzing different parts of you until eventually you are fully paralyzed and slip into a coma and die.
I had no idea that type of rabies even existed.
Yeah, me either. And it's not as common, but it's also, not as dramatic. Like, I feel like when we think of rabies, we think of an animal like foaming and freaking the fuck out. So
Yeah.
you don't hear about the other one as much. We aren't sure exactly when rabies first stepped out on the scene, but it was first referenced in writing in 1930 BCE in the Eshnunna Code of Mesopotamia, which is a code of law.
She's old.
She's old as fuck.
Oh my gosh. Hopefully thousands of years from now, they're still talking about COVID, but they're like...
They will be. It's
For
quite
sure.
the event.
She's here.
She's here
to
for
stay.
a while.
She's kicked her feet up.
Mm-hmm. The law reads, quote, if a dog is mad and the authorities have brought the fact to the knowledge of the owner, if he does not keep it in and it bites a man and causes his death, then the owner shall pay 2/3 of a mina of silver.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, if not, like, not severe enough. Like, your dog, you purposely gave someone rabies with your dog. Like,
Well,
I think
not purposefully, but it's like...
but if you don't keep your rabid dog in the house, like, that's pretty bad.
So many responsibilities. Life is hard, especially in Mesopotamia.
That's
Are you
true.
fucking kidding me?
I would not. The fucking fertile valley.
Yeah,
No, thank
I didn't
you.
even think that they had pets. I don't know why. I thought
Of
you
course
just
they
had,
had
farm
pets.
animals.
People have had dogs for way longer than that. We've had dogs for like
What you're
60,000 years.
What you're saying makes sense, and I understand. But for some reason, I just didn't think that they had pets like that. I thought that any animals that they had were just for the sole purpose of like making food.
I mean, their
and
dogs
things.
are probably also for protection or keeping their livestock safe. And people
Yeah.
probably also just had pet dogs too. But
If you had a rabies dog, then what do you do with it then?
you have to kill it
Oh
or
my God.
keep it in a room until
that
it
would
dies.
cause some severe mental trauma.
Yeah, it would be very traumatic. And I mean, luckily, after you start showing symptoms, you die pretty quickly. So, you could just keep it in a room. But I think the more humane thing to do would
Put
be
it out
to
of
put it
its
out of its
misery.
misery. Yeah. So we can see from this code of law that it was definitely common, serious, and mostly transmitted by dogs even back then. It wasn't until the 20th century that we knew definitively what caused rabies. But over time, there were a lot of guesses.
Love that.
In 1500 BCE, Babylonians believed that dogs became infected when a lunar eclipse occurred on the 12th month of their calendar. So
just all dogs.
Dogs. I mean, dogs were pretty much the only animal that transmitted it for a long time because dogs live so closely to us. Like, you're a lot more likely to get near a dog than a fox or something.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that no matter what, if there was the lunar eclipse on the 12th day of
12th month,
then all dogs were fucked.
I don't think it meant all dogs because obviously they could see that not all dogs are rabid, but I don't understand. I don't know the logic behind this because clearly dogs are getting rabies.
Whoever wrote that had an enemy who was born on December 12th.
Yeah, probably. And all the babies are also rabid.
Really?
On the 12th month.
That's what it said?
Well, if he had an enemy born in December, wouldn't he want to say his enemy was rabid?
I was like, oh my, when you said that, I was like, obviously that's true then. This conspiracy has been confirmed.
People went on thinking it was the moon. In 1702, English physician Richard Mead also speculated that rabies was somehow connected to the moon.
That is bullshit. The moon,
she's nice.
Holy, she's nice.
She's good. Don't blame her. In 300 CE, Aristotle pointed out that the disease affects dogs and any animal bitten is infected. So he made that connection. In the 1st century CE, Roman scholar Celsus suggested that the disease was spread through the saliva of an infected animal. So people made this connection pretty early on. And we also, of course, saw that in the Mesopotamian law. But that didn't stop people from making stupid guesses. In 1805, American physician Benjamin Rush claimed the disease is caused by cold night air and eating beech nuts.
What the fuck is a beech nut?
I don't fucking know. A nut?
Sex on the beach.
Yeah. What if it was
on a cold night? No. Plenty of things you can catch, but it's not rabies doing that.
It's crabs.
Crabs, yeah.
Over the years, there have also been many different attempts at cures. Most typically, though, prevention is the best method. So if dogs showed signs of being infected, they would usually be killed. And people were known to do the same thing to themselves, meaning if they were bit by a rabid dog, you would usually end your own life or others would do it for you.
Oh my gosh. It's giving like zombie apocalypse vibes.
It's very much zombie-ish. Like you completely lose all control of what you do. But there were some weird cure attempts. In ancient Turkey, it was believed that cauterizing the bite wound would stop the spread of infection. In 79 CE, Pliny the Elder suggested burning the tail of the infected animal and then rubbing the ashes from it in your bite wound. Sounds helpful. Another cure was applying a poultice, which is like a mash of like herbs and shit, using hyena skin on the bite wound.
Hyena skin?
Yeah.
I feel like they'd be hard. I guess you could hunt them. Wait, where was this?
I don't know exactly where. I assume it was like ancient Greece. And they had like a lot of trade connections with North Africa. So I imagine they had hyenas.
Hyenas freak me out.
They're
completely
scary.
Unrelated.
Yeah.
The way they laugh and like scream.
Mm-hmm.
No.
They're very... I think
thank you.
I think The Lion King ruined them for me. Because when you see them at the zoo, they're not that bad. But they evoke fear in my brain.
My gosh, I saw the new Lion King, I guess, back in 2017 or 18, and I somehow completely missed Lion King as a kid. I think I saw it once, partially, but I was in that theater bawling as
what do you
a grown
mean
up.
the new Lion King?
They like revamped
Oh, did they do?
it.
Oh, yeah, it made it look real. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I was crying in the club.
It's a sad fucking movie. I didn't watch the new one because it's fucking sad.
I only watched the new one because I didn't watch the original one.
Lion King was my shit. I had it on a VHS tape and I watched it, like, I kid you not, every day.
I was only into the weird Little Mermaid type shit. The worst Disney movie of all time. But my favorite.
But the best. I would pretend my cat was Simba. I had a big orange tabby cat, and I would be Nala. And I would just like jump around next to him. It was good times. You could also make medicine from the skull of a hanged man.
Oh.
Or you could have your lingual frenulum removed. And this is the mucous membrane on the underside of your tongue, which it was believed that's where rabies came from. So they just cut it off.
That's a pretty good guess.
It is a pretty good guess. Yeah, I'll give them that.
For what they knew at the time, to go and be like, okay, you're spitting a lot.
Yeah.
Let's
but also,
take something out.
like, if we cut off part of your tongue, you're going to get an infection and probably die. So
it's worth
it
the
cured
risk,
it,
right?
I guess, in a way.
Just slowly and painfully.
Not much was recorded in the Dark Ages, but we know in the 13th century, protocol was cleaning the bite wound, which is pretty logical, but it doesn't help. Rabies is believed to be a quote-unquote old world disease and was probably the first epizootic in the Americas, which is a disease spread by animals to people, if you don't know.
I didn't. Thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, and I don't even know if I said it right. I feel like this is a word I've only read and never said out loud, epizootic. The first case in the Americas was in Boston in 1768, and it spread pretty rapidly from there. By the 19th century, this was a worldwide problem, and people were desperate for a cure. Perhaps the strangest cure was St. Hubert's key. According to legend, St. Peter visited Hubert, who was the first bishop of Liege in Belgium. Peter gave him a golden key and stole and told him that God had granted him special power over evil spirits. Afterward, Hubert was visited by a rabid man and miraculously cured him. So after Hubert died, he was made a saint, and people made pilgrimages to St. Hubert's church to receive a blessing against rabies.
I would want a blessing against rabies too.
Yeah, it sounds pretty fun. I bet this church is still there. Like, it was around in the 19th century. That's when people were making pilgrimages.
Yeah,
so
easily. Huh,
we gotta go there. They could also buy a copy of St. Hubert's key to hang in their homes for protection. So a fun little amulet. And then people had the not so fun idea to heat up the key and brand dogs with it to protect them from rabies.
Okay.
Not good.
I feel like if anything, that's going to open up your dog to maybe not rabies, but more infections.
Yeah.
Different types of things.
A
getting
burn
in
wound
there.
is usually not a great thing to have on you. But they were trying to help their dogs, so I guess it's the thought that counts, not really.
I guess if we're trying to spin it. That's crazy though.
Yeah, and people could also prevent the disease in themselves through a practice called cutting. What this was is a priest would make a small incision on your forehead and insert a thread taken from St. Hubert's stole. And you would just keep it in your wound for 9 days, and then you take it out, and you can't get rabies.
Did it work?
Yes.
What?
No, it did not work.
They're like, okay, to test it out, we're going to have you be bit by a dog we confirmed has rabies. Go on.
Have fun. If you really believe in God, you won't have a problem with this.
Yeah. Prove your faith. Put the thread in your forehead and make it happen.
Make it work.
Work, bitch.
This practice continued into the 20th century.
What?
Yeah, people were still doing this shit. Another common treatment in Europe and North America were Bezoar stones, which are gallstones from the stomach of animals. So basically, if an animal gets something in their stomach that they can't digest, it'll stay in their stomach, and eventually calcium will form around it to make it smooth so it doesn't irritate their skin. And these back in the 1800s were super, super valuable. Like, you could sell them for a small fortune. And the ones found in deer were the most valuable. And it was believed that they could draw out poison from snake, spider, and rabies from animal bites if you held them on the wound.
I can't wait for 100 years, 200 years from now, people to be talking about a podcast or talking on a podcast about the shit we do now.
I mean, people think fucking essential oils cure cancer, so we're just as stupid now as we were back then.
We have more access to more information
that maybe you should use. Yeah. Even with all these attempts of a cure, it was not until 1885 that rabies. Oh, I'm sorry. I read that wrong. Even with all these attempts at a cure, until 1885, rabies was a certain death sentence. That's until Louis Pasteur and Emily Roux developed a vaccine. The original vaccine came from infected rabbits.
Easter.
Hey, look at that. Happy
made the connection.
Easter. The virus was harvested from the nerve tissue of the rabbits and dried for 5 to 10 days to weaken it. And then that could be given to you as an inoculation. Since then, other vaccines have been developed, and it's usually mandated that pets be vaccinated against rabies. Since widespread vaccination of animals, human deaths from rabies in the U.S. have dropped from about 100 per year in the early 20th century to only about 1 or 2.
Hey, we're doing it.
Doing the
Killing
thing.
the game.
Humans can be vaccinated too, and the vaccine is 100% effective if given before the onset of symptoms.
Whoa, I had no idea that there was a vaccine for humans.
You didn't know that? Yeah, if you get bit, you get a round of vaccinations.
Why don't they just give it to everyone?
Because the vaccines are really expensive and painful, and you have to get multiple of them. So if you are exposed to an animal bite, because there's not really a reason to be vaccinated until you're bitten.
It's rare enough.
Yeah. And so if you get bit, you're supposed to clean the bite with soap, and then you get 4 rounds of the rabies vaccine over a 2-week period. And this used to be 20 shots, and the shots go in your abdomen, and they're supposedly really painful.
Ew.
So that's why they don't just vaccinate everyone.
Yeah, okay. That was almost you, Alec.
Yeah, it was.
And if you haven't been vaccinated before, because some people do get vaccinated, it's just not really common.
Yeah.
You're also supposed to get a rabies immunoglobulin, which I think is like something with your blood. They put more rabies in it. I don't know what that means, but it's expensive apparently. And if you don't seek treatment before symptoms start, survival is very unlikely. Almost impossible. The first person who did survive rabies after experiencing symptoms was Gina Geiss in 2003. And I didn't put it in my notes, but I believe she was a child. She was treated by being put in a chemically induced coma and given antiviral medications.
When was the vaccine?
The vaccine was created in the 1800s, but
why did they not do that for her?
I don't know. She was probably bitten and no one thought it was a big deal. But then she started showing symptoms because, I mean, probably a lot of people get bit by an animal and like think like, oh, what are the odds, and don't seek medical treatment. I mean, it clearly happens sometimes if we still have like a few deaths per year.
Yeah. And I feel like animals with rabies are more likely to bite.
Oh, yeah, they are because they like lose control of their frontal lobe.
Yeah.
They start acting crazy. And so she was put in this chemically induced coma. That's usually what they do for people with the traumatic brain injury because it can help reduce swelling of the brain. And that's what rabies does to you. It swells your brain. And then it's a virus. So given a lot of antiviral medications. And this protocol is called the Milwaukee Protocol. And it's only used in extreme emergencies because, of course, usually the first round of action is to give a vaccine. The Milwaukee Protocol, as of when this Wikipedia article was last updated, has been used 30 times with only 4 survivors. So it's definitely
it's like a last-ditch effort.
Last-ditch effort.
She was 15 when she survived.
Okay, cool. So she was a kid, kind of, in a way.
Yes, she was a kid.
Yeah.
She was a baby.
A little baby.
Infant.
An infant. Today, rabies is rare in countries with high vaccination rates. In some places, it's even fully or nearly eradicated. Australia is officially rabies-free, although in 1996, Australian bat lysovirus was discovered there, and that's a strain of rabies. This has caused 3 cases of human infection, and all of them have been fatal.
Oh, man, it's not fucking around.
No, it does not fuck around. Like, after reading this, I was like, if you get bit, like, go to the doctor immediately. You do not fuck around with this.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Alec, for
we
teasing
were
you.
all teasing
Immediately calling animal control and getting bit by a
stray cat.
Yeah, we were watching Dr. Pole last year, and there was one night where he like got up in the middle of the night and like his trash can was in his kitchen, and he saw a banana peel on the ground, and he grabbed the banana peel, which turned out to be a bat, and it bit him, and he had to get the rabies shots. But I was like, how freaky would that be if you just in the middle of the night reached down to pick up what you thought was a brown banana peel?
But I think, did he get the shots, or did they like capture the bat and put it in like rabies quarantine? Because if an animal has rabies, it'll be dead within like a week. And so if the animal is still alive after a week, you're fine and you don't have to get the shots. Or you can take off their head and test their brain.
Maybe they got the brain tested.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
I can't remember either. I don't think he got the shots though, because they had the bat. I remember that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I would not trust anything I saw in the dark again. I'd be getting night lights all over the house.
I know. And I think if I got bit by a bat, I think I'd get the shots no matter what. It's like, shit.
I'm not trying to wait around.
Yeah. In the United States, about 100 dogs become infected by wild animals each year, although almost all of those cases come from bats, raccoons, skunks, and foxes. Switzerland has almost fully eliminated the disease by placing chicken heads laced with the vaccine in the Swiss Alps.
That's smart.
Really smart, because foxes are the main carriers of rabies there. And so they eat the chicken and immunize themselves.
We should do that for humans.
Just leave that. Just
not
put the
chicken,
vaccine in their food.
It's chicken nuggets with the COVID vaccine.
Yeah.
I'll get canceled by the conservatives, anti-vaxxers, but I don't care. I think it could be good.
I mean, there's worse things in chicken nuggets than a vaccine, so may as well.
Fuck it.
Fuck it. Italy vaccinates wild animals to keep rabies under control, and Mexico has been certified by the World Health Organization as being free of dog-transmitted rabies.
Good for you, Mexico.
Applause to Mexico. So it's really not usually a threat anymore, unless you live somewhere with like severely low vaccination rates. But if you are bitten by a wild animal, you should seek medical treatment immediately, because rabies ain't cute.
No, it's not cute. You're gonna go insane.
Yeah, it's
You're
very
gonna
bad.
hate water.
Yeah,
and who hates water?
And don't give your friends a hard time. You know, when you get bit and you're taking it seriously, and your friends that are co-hosts kind of give you a hard time about it.
We live in an area with low vaccination rates.
Yeah,
we
we're
live
pretty
in a metropolitan
in the United
city.
States. Yeah.
For those of you who are new to the show, I got bit by a wild stray cat last year. And I had to capture the cat. It had to go into rabies quarantine with the city government.
It was a whole dramatic event. They gave us a cat trap, and so we caught the cat, but then freaking animal control sucks, and they didn't pick it up for like 3 days.
It was just in our bathroom.
So we kept it in our bathroom, and then I started feeling bad for it because it's in a wire cage. So I let it out of the cage.
I can't believe you did that still. It's fucking
because it needed
around.
water. It needed water, and I couldn't get water into its cage, so I let it out.
Like it was just afraid of the water for some reason, so I had to let it out.
No, but they didn't pick it up. Like, I didn't have a choice. It was like thirsty, and so I let it out, and then it was a wild cat in our bathroom, and then suddenly honestly hours after I let it out, the animal control guy is knocking on our door, and he's like, "I'm here to take the cat," and I was like, "Fuck," and I had to wrangle a wild cat and stick it back in the cage,
and then it bit you.
It did. I had scratches all over my arms. Like, it was a bloodbath.
I was incensed. I was like, this is why we can't have nice things. Like,
it's your fault.
Now we're both gonna die of rabies because Kat just wanted to let it out.
That would be kind of cute though, if you guys both died
like
of
Romeo
rabies.
and Juliet.
Yeah, and the cat's name was Romeo.
Oh yeah, it was.
Wow. Romeo
what
and Juliet.
If we
go to rabies Paris?
What if we did die of rabies, and right now, like, we're all in purgatory?
Why am I dying of rabies? I'm not dying of rabies.
You are.
How did I get rabies?
You went insane from grief. And so you are talking to our ghosts and nobody believes you, but they're like, okay, Hayley, if it makes you feel better, you can go talk in the podcast room.
And I just come up to the studio
by yourself
every Sunday.
You're wearing black. You're in mourning still.
Yeah, I'm mourning.
Yeah.
But that makes sense.
To close that thread, if anyone's interested, the cat survived the 10-day quarantine. They neutered him, and they brought him back to our yard and released him. And
he ran away into the sunset.
And never came back because of what we did.
Yeah, that was his property.
Yeah, that was our yard cat. He lived in our yard. We'd go out and pet him all the time. He was really friendly. I don't know why he decided to bite Alec one day.
Yeah. But if anyone was curious about the protocol, if you get bit by something, you can call services and they'll come catch it.
Yeah.
And they don't kill it. They just let it be in a quarantine for 2 weeks.
Yep. So do that.
The misadventures of our house.
Yeah.
One of them.
Quite the theatrical experience.
And Hayley, we didn't tell you there's raccoons living in the attic.
Why are you saying that on the pod?
Oh.
Aren't you the one that tells us not to talk about how fucked up our house
Well, I was
is?
thinking of rabies.
Oh, yeah.
You said it's spread by raccoons.
We probably have raccoon babies.
A neighbor came by and was like, I saw a raccoon wiggling its way into a hole in your roof.
Oh my God.
There's a hole in the awning. We went into the attic and looked out the window, and there's a hole like in that thing, and then there's a gap where it can get from inside that thing into our attic. So heads up.
Good. That's good. That's great. And you know what? That checks out. So whenever I hear some shit going on tonight, I'm going to know that it is just raccoons.
Yep.
Tis the raccoons that scare me.
So we went up there to investigate, and I put my cell phone in the gap and was like looking around with a video. And when we look back at the video, there's a spider like almost the size of my hand.
It was
there.
huge.
Ew.
I had to delete the video because it freaked me out so much.
Dang it. I want to see it.
Well, I'll go. I can maybe find it in my deleted videos.
Okay.
Yeah, it was fucked up. Anyway, that's my lesson.
Sorry, Kat.
My only sources are the rabies Wikipedia page, the puppy pregnancy syndrome Wikipedia page, and an article on historyofyesterday.com by Jed Graham called A History of the World's Deadliest Disease, or Deadliest Infectious Disease. That was my lesson.
Wow. I learned so much.
Good.
Thank you for educating me.
You're welcome. God bless. Please, nobody get rabies. It's not a fun time. And
we would know.
We would know. We've had it. And thank you for listening. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Follow, do the thing. Follow us on social media. Tell your friends.
Follow us
tell
on
your
TikTok.
family. Follow us. TikTok is social media. Tell everyone in your life about us. Thank you for listening. We love you. And 3, 2, 1. Class dismissed.
Great show, y'all.
Thank